the expanded arm with Basilan and the Islamic city of Marawi joining the arm. So currently, you know naman the situation. The core territory the core territory under the 1954 covers Sulu, but with the plebiscite for the 11054 and the decision of the Supreme Court, now Sulu is not anymore part of the bar. Next slide. So just like any other agreements, not only in the Philippines but in other countries, there are contentions in terms of the implementation of agreements between the government and here are the agreements that we are still implementing until now. The establishment of the Bangsamoro Development Assistance Fund for the development of MNLF communities, the agreement on the co-management of strategic minerals. When this was written and agreed, the autonomy law at that time is 1954. So it was the new law, and per the current participation of the MNLF in the implementation of the comprehensive agreement in the Bangsamoro through the parliament, there is a perspective that they already accepted how the CAB has able to enhance the provision on this particular concern. Another agreement is concurring with the OIC resolution in terms of the convergence between the 1996 Final Peace Agreement and the Comprehensive Agreement on the Bangsamoro. In terms of the passage of the Bangsamoro Basic Law, so again, ganyan yung lingwahe because at the time that we signed this one, ang pangalan pa po ng batas ay Bangsamoro Basic Law bago po siya naging Bangsamoro Organic Law. It says that the participation of the MNLF under the tripartite review process. And the last one is the creation of the Tripartite Implementation Monitoring Committee, wherein this body shall be created and shall be composed of representatives from the government, the Moro National Liberation Front, and the OIC to monitor the status of the implementation. Next slide. So what is our current situation? So we have an initial agreement with the Moro National Liberation Front on this to work on the roadmap to implement the Bangsamoro Development Assistance Fund, and of course the creation of the Tripartite Implementation and Monitoring Committee as accompaniment to complete the remaining deliverables under the 1996 Final Peace Agreement. Next slide. Also, if you have demobilization and there is no provision for the turning in of firearms, except for the process wherein those that integrated in the AFP and PNP had to turn in their firearms. Also, there is an absence of a defined target, scope, and timeline in the implementation. So who are we talking to when we talk about the Moro National Liberation Front? Currently, the government is engaging two groups of the MNLF. One group is headed by Chair Normie Suarez, and the other group is headed by Minister Muslimin Sema. Next slide. So what is the objectives of this peace process? Is to complete the remaining commitments, of course, focusing on the Bangsamoro Development Assistance Fund and the Tripartite Implementation Monitoring Committee, and implement a transformation program for the MNLF combatants, their families, and communities through various interventions on security, socioeconomic, confidence building, and community healing and reconciliation. When we engage the Organization of Islamic Cooperation as our partner in the implementation of these remaining commitments. The MNLF have been appointed to the Bangsamoro Transition Authority. Currently, they have 10 members in the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, but there were 3 batches already of appointments. So here are the names. I know you're familiar with them. But under Professor Normi Swari, these are the individuals representing the Mora National Liberation Front in the Bangsamoro Transition Authority. And then also the list of the individuals representing the MNLF under Chair Muslimin Sema. Also in the bar, there are also MNLF leaders appointed to the bureaucracy for the Ministry of Labor and Employment, of course, aligned with the group of Chair Muslimin Sema. The Bangsamoro Women Commission is headed by Chairperson Hadja Bainin Caron. And for the Ministry of Social Services and Development, the Deputy Minister is Noor Aini Tanlim, who is the daughter of Chair Normi Swari. Next slide. So when it comes to addressing the concerns of the MNLF combatants, their families, and communities, next slide. A transformation program was developed, and this is a joint peace and development initiatives of the GPH and MNLF to fully implement the 1996 final peace agreement. It is designed to support the holistic transition of former MNLF combatants, their families, and their communities towards peaceful and productive civilian life. Kung makikita ninyo, parallel siya din dun sa goals and outcomes ng normalization. So basically, is to provide opportunity for our former MNLF combatants, their families, and communities to have a peaceful and productive civilian life. This is anchored on Article 20A of the 1996 Final Peace Agreement, addressing the concerns of those members of the MNLF or their next of kin that were not integrated into the EFP and PNP. Next slide. So currently, this is the framework that we are using for the transformation program. This is jointly crafted by the GPH and the Mora National Liberation Front. So this follows the Torogan structure of the Maranao. On the roof is the program, and on the middle is the Community Healing and Reconciliation Framework. When we crafted this one, we agreed that the Community Healing and Reconciliation, and to support the implementation, it shall be rooted on the participation of women and the other stakeholders in the community, and that's why the Women, Peace and Security has to be supporting the entire implementation. Next slide. So this is the components I'm talking about. So currently for the security, we have yet to agree on the terms for the turn-in of firearms because first, it's not in the final peace agreement, critical interventions, because this will address the living conditions of our MNLF brothers and sisters, as well as their families. This includes livelihood opportunities, social protection packages, and the immediate cash assistance. For the confidence building, currently the efforts is focused on the amnesty. Once the amnesty is completed, because I think they're applying for an extension of 1 year for the application, because the application is supposed to be has ended in March of this year. So this also covers interventions for vulnerable sectors of the community, such as widows, orphans, persons with disabilities, and senior citizens. And of course, the community healing and reconciliation. Why is this very important? Because we all know that while there's no more armed conflict between the national government and the Mora National Liberation Front forces, there are still horizontal conflicts no, communities to communities, families to families, and even at some point, some elements of the MNLF versus some elements of the MNLF as well. So we are also, this particular component would want to enhance social cohesion and promote peace building for the long-term stable peace and security in the community. Next slide. So currently we are covering, the objective is to be able to cover 7,000 combatants and their families from these regions, and cover also around 114 communities. So pag sinabi natin communities, may city level, yan, may barangay level. Yeah. Next slide. So what are the status as of the latest in terms of the implementation of the MNF transformation program? So as of June 2025, we have already validated 3,584 combatants, verified 2,442 combatants, and documented 2,533 firearms. Next slide. Also for the socio-economic, a total of 162 million has been provided to the combatants who have completed the socio-economic profiling process. The interventions include transitional cash assistance, civil registration, because this is very important for their continuing support. Their legal identity has to be established, and immediate relief in the form of food packages were provided to a total of 2,442 profiled combatants. Also, currently we are implementing a MNLF Educational Assistance Program, and we have students, 686 MNLF students enrolled in different state universities and colleges in Mindanao, and each is receiving 50,000 per year for assistance to their education. Next slide. So in terms of the socio-economic communities, we have partnered with the Mindanao State University for the data gathering for the combatants and the communities to inform our programming for socio-economic interventions. Also, 308 housing units under the Pamana DSWD Modified Shelter Assistance Program has been turned over in Zamboanga Peninsula in 2024 for MNLF families. Also, 15 infrastructure and livelihood projects worth 451 million is expected to be completed this year, implemented by the Department of Public Works and Highways and local government units in the barn. Also, we are hoping that this year be able to turn over 94 projects amounting to 125 million in 25 communities. Next slide. For the confidence building, as I said, this is focused on the amnesty program, and currently there are 646 applications received for MNLF. We continue to do IEC activities and jail visits because there's a lot of applicants that are currently incarcerated and awaiting for their amnesty to be approved. Next slide. For the community healing and reconciliation, this is parallel to the transitional justice and reconciliation program under the comprehensive agreement on the Bangsamoro. So we continue to capacitate and provide interventions for MNLF women, as well as supports MNLF communities through solidarity activities during the holy month of Ramadan and the Eid al-Adha, and continue to engage women in different communities as we addressed concerns on women, peace, and security. Next slide. So I think this is my last two slides. So how do we monitor or ensure that that the interventions provided address the concerns of the MLF combatants, their families, and communities? The DSWD is our main partner, and through their program, the Social Case Management, we hope to provide a sustained individualized support to help beneficiaries recover from the effects of armed conflict. So we are using their enhanced general intake sheet to profile the MLF combatants and will be updated to regularly monitor progress on their living conditions. We are also using the comprehensive tool of the DSWD, the SWD tool, that measures the progress of the Pantawid Pamilyang Filipino program households in their journey out of poverty since joining the program. So ito din yung ginagamit natin dito sa transformation program because this is an established tool that measures may nagbago ba sa buhay with the interventions that we have provided. Next slide, and I think this is my last slide. So, what are our ways forward? Of course, the substantial implementation of the 1996 Final Peace Agreement remaining commitments, specifically on the BIDAF and TIMC through convergence of MLF groups and re-engagement of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. We will also sustain the implementation of the transformation program for MLF combatants, their families, and communities. We hope to finish the phase 1 by June of 2027. For the phase 1 of the transformation program. Strengthen the Bangsamoro Convergence Forum of the Moro Fronts and the implementation of the Bangsamoro Organic Law as convergence and inclusion platforms. And of course, intensify engagement